Then and he was like, "You just got hit by a car." I was like, "I know, bro. I was trying to come see your show." He was like, "You want to take a picture?" I was like, "For sure."
Who you got as top 3 comedians? Because I guess I should say stand-up comedians.
Yeah, I don't. And
you know,
shout out to my social media comedic personalities and shit. If you don't get on stage, you're not a comedian to me. You're a comedic personality, a comedic person, and I do not take away from your humor and your content that you're making people laugh. That's the game, that's the job. But we got to establish the world of a stand-up comedian and a fucking social media comic personality. Which is always going to be friction if we don't establish that.
Right,
you know what I mean? Because you saying top 3?
Top 3. Start with number 3.
And we're going off alive, right?
Dead or alive.
Dead or alive. Stand up.
My number 3 is Gerard Carmichael.
Gerard Carmichael.
Yes, he had the Carmichael show. He's done a couple of specials. He has his new one on HBO right now called Rothaniel. Moved to LA back in like 2014 and go chase the comedy scene out there.
Okay.
And just like, you know, I was out there just trying to make friends, and then I saw this black kid who's doing shows at the Comedy Store. He's in the belly room killing it. I'm talking about crushing it. He's from South Carolina, but he had this flow of material like Dave, like well thought out, but then like a pacing of just like a slow, just southern motherfucker. So
just
he
chill.
took his time with it.
Right.
Okay. And I'm watching like the room is full, and he would do a joke and then just get quiet. And then go, and I'm like, how the fuck is he keeping people here listening to this nigga while he's like legit going dead silent? And I took a lot from that. And one time I went to one of the shows, just chasing to go watch him. I got hit by a car on my way to go inside.
God damn.
Yeah, I got hit by a Beetle. It was a newer one too, so you know a bitch was driving. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Fucking hit me right before I went into the show. And as I was getting up to like dust myself off, he was coming out to smoke a cigarette. And he was like, "You just got hit by a car." I was like, "I know, bro. I was trying to come see your show." He was like, "You want to take a picture?" I was like, "For sure." But Gerard Carmichael, if you haven't watched any of his stand-up, go check him out, bruh. I don't know what else to tell you. He's one of the dopest, not just a black comedian, but just a comedian with content. And he's just taking over Hollywood right now. It's exciting to see.
Number 2.
You think it's making it hard? I
know.
Because I just want to go with the live people right now. With Martin Lawrence, number 2.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting.
Right.
Def Comedy Jam. Just because a lot of people always ask me who you feel like your material is kind of around and shit, or who you, I don't know, mimic or whatever.
Right.
I grew up watching Martin. I grew up watching the show, and then I also grew up watching Def Comedy Jam. This is when I thought I used to watch comedians, and I thought the niggas just went up there and started making it up when they got there.
Right.
So I was like, Martin, just from his fucking, he's a real comic that I subscribe to, just because he's big, like he's over the top. And when you come to watch a laugh, you ain't trying to watch somebody sometimes that is just rigid and
right.
Like he takes you into this fucking world. It's joyful, but it's also pure humor. You know what I mean? And then number 1, my GOAT, who no matter whenever I feel like I should stop doing comedy, I'll watch some of his shit and it makes me start doing comedy again. That's Dave fucking Chappelle.
Right.
For fucking ever.
Right.
I stopped doing comedy for a year. I was just like burnt out. I was over it. Then I watched Sticks and Stones and I was like, I gotta get back on stage, because that nigga is that boy. I'm gonna say something I probably shouldn't say. That's my fuck. I need to get that tattooed on my back, bro. That's literally my life. I always say some shit that I probably shouldn't say, but that's life.
That's how you feel, right?
Dave, Martin, Gerard Carmichael, 3 black men. And then number 4 and 5 is probably some white people, so don't even get mad. I got y'all too.
I'm gonna go ahead and say with that, because you mentioned something with Martin Lawrence. You mentioned, like, you know, you thought things were like a freestyle, you just coming up there and shooting jokes. I kind of felt that way with old school Bernie Mac. You know,
that's,
you know,
we gonna get to it.
You know, Kings of Comedy. Was it Kings of Comedy?
Kings of Comedy,
yeah, right. Yeah,
Bernie
Cedric
Mac
and all them.
yeah.
Get some ridicule for this, but I loved every minute of his show, of his series, and that's going to be Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
As number 1? That's your number 1?
Like, I would say if I'm going to watch a stand-up comedy, I might need security would be the number 1 that I'm looking to put in there, because I'm laughing the whole fucking time, bro.
Hey, right before Donald Glover came, he was the most talented man in Hollywood. Jamie Foxx.
Oh, yeah.
Legit anything.
Sing.
Very well, too. Some people could
Right.
do Donald Glover could do everything. Some things he's better at. You know, Jamie Foxx was a world-renowned stand-up, world-renowned music artist, could play the fucking piano,
Right.
and acted his ass off, and not just in one movie. He won the Oscar for that one, but don't get it twisted. Jamie Foxx has been making fucking movies that I laugh at to this day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And even on the drama side.
On the drama side,
Yeah.
fucking don't play with him. Do not play with Jamie Foxx. That's a bad motherfucking boy right there.
And you mentioned that too. You mentioned like the difference between stand up and just being funny and comedic. I feel like it was early Jamie.
That was Jamie. Jamie was a stand-up,
right?
Yeah.
He in it though because he did it. He did the stand up.
He did it.
You can't
He
take
did
it away from him. You can never take it away from him.
But I feel like after that, it wasn't like he wanted to go back to that platform and do it again. It was more so, boom, I'm off to movies. I'm off to music.
Because
like
you know why?
You
Stand-up is the hardest art form than all that other shit. I'll stand on that shit.
Right, okay.
It's instant gratification. It's instant recognition. It's also instant, you ain't good at this shit. You
Right.
gotta go right in front of them people. You don't really get to practice this shit unless you practice it in front of people. So there's no secret tricks to this shit. You either got it or you don't. And sometimes when you get so far removed from real life, real situations, when you try to go up there and talk about it, I feel like people it's not gonna resonate with them as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I feel like Kevin Hart's kind of going through that right now a little bit.
That dude's overrated.
Kevin is. Let me tell you. Okay, let me
I
say
was
this.
gonna put him in there. You know,
You have your three?
He'd be 3. Only because
Kevin
he's
Hart?
He only. Oh wait.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Wait. Only.
I got your back with that too.
Only because it's relevant and he's done multiple shows in a stand-up platform and most of them are funny. It's not all the same. Don't get me wrong. He's taking old jokes, incorporating them in the new jokes. It makes people follow him. He's done multiple stand-ups that have you tuned in.
His early on stand-ups was fire.
Look at this.
I'll give him
He
that.
was a cultural. Every stand-up that Kevin put out when he first put out, there was a moment that we would all use in life. Like, you gonna learn today,
Right.
Cause somebody come look at this. Every time he did a stand up, there was something that we would go say in our regular fucking life. He was the first person that we were memeing in life. It wasn't even like putting on the internet. Like, I would say, you gonna learn today. And I was memeing him, you know what I mean, at school and shit. Kevin Hart is a fucking undeniable fucking GOAT.
Number one, I hate it. For me personally, Jamie, Bernie Mac, Kevin Hart.
That's a solid list, bruh.
Okay. So we share one.
I'm listening.
Bernie is number one. I'm gonna go in reverse. I'm gonna go number one
Facts.
first,
Okay.
and I'm gonna go
Facts.
back. Bernie, to me, he don't miss.
Facts.
That's not
He's
right.
batting
Rob
1,000.
all
Right.
the way.
Like when you talk about the movies that
I'm with
he's
Rob
in,
all the way.
bro, think Dollar and Players Club,
Right.
Iconic.
jangling, like, and I'm just talking about the movies. But his stand up, what you talked about, like when he did the one in New York, and everybody was getting booed. That's the iconic one. That's when he really launched.
Right.
I think his presence, and he started off late
Yes.
too, because he'd been doing it for a minute, but he hit late.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Number one on the Kings of Comedy, he had the best.
He
set.
was the best one on there.
He's
He's
the
the
best
one
set.
who made that shit. I will go watch that set today and
Yeah.
still laugh like it's the first time watching that
Yeah,
shit.
Bernie to me is my number one. Number two is Dave Chappelle.
Nice.
That's who my number two is. I think Dave's delivery. I think his ability to tell a story.
Right.
It's unmatched,
Man, like when we can go all the way back for What It's Worth, the one he did at the Fillmore, the one he did in DC. You know, like. But how you gonna make a joke out of stovetop stuffing? Like, bro, had me crying on the floor.
Right.
More with Dave, the mystique of him is the comeback.
Yes.
You was
That
on
fucking
top. You went to the bottom,
Very
and you
true.
was able to rise back
Very
to the top.
true.
I think that's so underrated.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason. It's close to almost make me put him one, but I think just Bernie to me with his funnies it has me number one. They're so close. My third person, he's not as known.
Okay.
This dude is not afraid to say a joke.
Okay.
Corey Holcombe
I knew you was gonna say
is
yeah.
my
Shout out
dude.
to Corey Holcombe.
He's
Shout out to
funny.
Corey Holcombe.
I'm
man.
gonna
He
go
is.
see him May 22nd on
Shout out
Sunday.
to
I'm about to go see him at Punchline.
How you gonna make me feel bad? I ain't pushing from the back. When I'm looking into that asshole, I'm degraded. Corey Holcombe. Well, okay, I would say this
shit.
too. You guys know Deion Cole?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Corey Holcombe and Deion Cole.
yeah, Deion Cole.
Them
yeah.
niggas, I tell y'all right now,
man.
behind the scenes and also in front of the scenes, but behind the scenes, them is two of the hardest working black comedians, and they don't
Bro, the
they write for
funnies.
shows, bro.
yeah.
They
Man.
write for shows,
Yeah.
like
Not
Not
afraid
about
to
that
say the
fool.
jokes that people want to say.
yeah, because they ain't got nothing to lose. Them niggas
Man,
ain't.
that when it comes to the funnies,
Yeah,
that dude is almost unmatched. it's crazy because I've seen him live 3 times. This will be the 4th time I've seen him.
Yeah, guys.
Man, he's so funny. He'll be saying a joke. Sometimes you'll miss the next joke because you laughing from the last one.
Yeah.
Like I've never had that where my stomach is hurting.
Like, to me, I don't like comedians that are trying to make me laugh. Like, I like naturals, you know, and it's just like the way they talk, it makes you laugh, and how they deliver it makes you laugh. To be honest, so at 3, I would have Cat Williams. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Damn. Okay. You know,
Okay.
these are good
He's
names
one
I ain't
of
thinking about.
the most underrated. And I can say that because he still should be where he was when he had his peak.
I agree. Like, to me, his raw ability was it was crazy. And he had his run, and then he had all that drama when he was out here in Sac acting a fool.
That's the part that fucking sucks about Cat.
Bro, he came.
So I would have Cat at 3. Number 2, I would have Mike Epps.
God, I love that we pulling from. Look, man, I can't even say nothing negative. You guys ain't saying no fucking shitty ass people.
Right. Mike Epps, to me, like, his delivery was everything.
Mike Epps,
Mac, man, like, we could turn on Kings of Comedy today, and we all be on the floor. And how many times have we watched that?
A million times.
I watched it the day it came out. Man, I still laugh at it like it's the first day, bro. You might think I'd be talking about comics and comedy all the time. I don't. I really reserve talking about that shit with certain people because you can't really talk about it with everybody. Some people feel like it either gets politicized or it's polarizing, or you know they can't separate the art from the artist, or it's just something about comedy. But I'm just looking at us talking about the people we fuck with and the joy they brought. That's really,
it's about the funny.
That's
and the experience.
It's the experience.
I don't.
This shit right here, nigga. This shit right here, nigga.
Who is this? It's the nigga you love to hate.
We need some bullet control.